The only thing scarier than Halloween is the terrifying pace in which retail switches from Halloween decorations to Christmas decorations on November 1st. It's 7 a.m. And the only thing scarier than that is the terrifying pace of time and the never-ending forward momentum leading us all towards our inevitable deaths. Now I know what you're thinking. Why has this horrifying fact resurfaced in your mind, creating a disproportionate amount of existential dread for this time of the year? Or one might say, an appropriate amount of existential dread for this time of the year. Well, I actually plan to make this top 5 video like the first week of November as a bit of a kind of a palate cleanser of Red One kicking off the Christmas season in early November. Made me sick to my stomach, despite obviously being a 5-star film. And so I thought, why not look back on Halloween and give us one more week to just soak in those Halloween juices. And so I wrote, prepared, and had my top 5 Halloween horror films of 2024. And I was gonna record, and then, I don't know, I blinked. Maybe twice, and suddenly we weren't heading towards Christmas, but Christmas was over. It was done. And I was like, what? What happened? What happened to all my time? That's upsetting me. I feel sick, I want to cry, and in a lot of ways, I want to die, but I don't because I'm terrified of dying. And on a brighter, happier note, top 5 horror films, but not for Halloween, for the whole year, I guess now, 2024 edition. Number 5, Longlegs. This film is the perfect example of it's not what story you tell, but how you tell that story. On paper, this film sounds kinda dumb, sounds kinda bad, sounds kinda very much unscary. It kinda feels like a PG-13 kids horror film masquerading as a Silence of the Lambs film. But it is very much not because of how it is made. This film is all vibe, all atmosphere, all mood, and that mood is upsetting. This film has such a particular flavor about it, and that flavor is so upsetting. There is such a sense of unease and unpleasantness that just radiates off every frame of this film. The disturbing, sickening vibe that permeates every single frame of this film is truly wonderful. And by wonderful, I mean disgusting. This film upset me so much. I genuinely don't leave horror films feeling like a sick sense inside my body, like I've watched a horror film. I kind of enjoy the feeling of a horror film a lot of the time. I don't feel like I need to shower and wash off the scent of the film afterwards. Whereas this film really got under my skin. It truly disturbed me, which literally never happens. And you know why? Because I ain't no scaredy boy. I'm a brave boy. I mean, I'm a brave man. Or, more potentially accurately, I am dead inside. And so films really just don't make me feel anything a lot of the time. Whereas this film made me feel a lot. Didn't like what I was feeling. Please bring back that dead inside feeling, because at least the numbness is better than whatever the hell this film made me feel. I absolutely loved that this film kind of danced a very delicate tightrope between what it was, because half the film feels like it's a straight serial killer manhunt type film, and on the other hand, it's like, there's something more going on. The serial killer is into the occult, but is it more than that? Is there something supernatural potentially going on? And the really interesting, mysterious vagueness of dancing between these two ideas, I just found really interesting. This film really felt like, what if you were watching Mindhunters, but the whole time you're like, am I watching an episode of Supernatural? This film features my least favorite trope in horror films, and they not only make it work, but they make me go, wait, do I like this stupid trope now? I don't, it's just how they did the trope. And I'm so glad that I saw it in a cinema, just in a dead, quiet, empty cinema, me and 2 other people, and it was just silence for the whole film as you were just like, oh, make it stop. But in a way where you're like, don't actually make it stop, but that's how you make, that's how you feel. Not in the way where you watch Megalopolis and you're like, I'm trapped in the cinema, please make it stop. I was so genuinely upset and sickened to my core when I finished watching this film. I saw it alone in the cinema on a day off at like 10 a.m. and instead of just driving home, which I normally always would do, I walked straight across the road to the local Sporting Globe, a pub, ordered a Parma and a pint, just so I was around people in a safe and comfortable space. I was so upset I wanted to be around people after this movie, despite the fact I hate being around people. And do you know you can trust me when I say that? I make videos on YouTube. I'm sitting alone in a room in my house, just yelling at a camera. Instead of say, oh, I don't know, doing anything else. Of course, Nicolas Cage is in this film. Is he overacting? Maybe. Is it almost comical? Almost definitely. This really bizarre, ridiculous, over-the-top performance he kind of gives at times in this film, I think works in the context of the film because of how everything else is structured and the feeling and the mood, like this just slow, methodical, sickening sense of just building tension and dread and suspense and all of these things just kind of slowly just kind of ratcheting up, that whenever he kind of unleashes his cage all over you in the film, it just works because the film has done so much kind of legwork to get you long leg. No, I can't even finish that. I'm so sorry. Let's finish the review. 5 out of 5. Number 4. It's What's Inside. This film is frantic, fun, high-energy mystery madness. What if Skin Season 1, bodies, 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 and Talk to Me all partied one night together, and then suddenly that one scene from Scooby-Doo rocked up and made the party real weird. This film is what you'd get, and this film is real good. Like, shockingly good. I did not expect to have so much fun watching this film. The editing is infectious and fast-paced, and the camera work is really interesting and clever and fresh, and they both pair together with this really high-energy, kinetic feeling that I just absolutely love. The film takes a little bit to set everything up, but then once it kicks off and it never lets up in a really fun way. It's not a tiresome, like, adrenaline rush. It's just an adrenaline rush. Unless that tires you, then you might be tired. The lighting is so overly dramatic with big fluoro colors. Imagine Suspiria, but all modern and hip and cool. Not that I would know what that means. The cast is spectacular, and all of the characters are really fun and interesting and immediately memorable and unique, but with also kind of staying within some kind of very recognizable cliches and tropes. They absolutely just had to hit it out of the park immediately and make us understand and care about these characters, or the rest of the film would have just completely collapsed in on itself. The plot is so crazy, I had literally no idea what this film was going to be about, so I'm not going to spoil anything. All I knew was some kids at a party, and then a thing happens, and it's crazy. It's so interesting. It's not really a horror film, more of a psychological thriller, but I would still like put it in the camp of a great film to watch on Halloween kind of thing. But there are no jump scares and no guys with stabby knives wearing masks and all that kind of stuff. It's more of interesting mind games and psychologically delving into these characters as a thingy happens. It's really, really fun though, but also kind of a bit of existential dread, quite thought-provoking and interesting at times. It asks some really interesting questions about who people are and how they present themselves, how people view them, and just some really interesting stuff. And honestly, I don't want to say anything else about the plot because the surprises and the twists as it builds and really kicks off is just really fun to experience as the film takes place. It's one of those very rare instances as well where Netflix just went, here's a film, oh, by the way, it's actually good this time. And because it's just on Netflix, there were no trailers. You don't go see another movie and then see that trailer for that movie 483,000 times. Looking at you, speak no evil. The ending I'm kind of mixed on a little bit, and I'm not really sure if it's just because I didn't like the ending or if I just wanted it to get even weirder and crazier. But yeah, so despite the fact that I'm a little mixed on the ending, I still think it is a fantastic film and the 4th best horror film of 2024. 4.5 out of 5 stars. And yes, I understand, I gave number 5 5 stars and number 4 4.5 stars. What do you want from me? I don't make the rules. I do, in fact, make the rules. And what has happened here? I'm not sure. I guess I thought I also gave this 5 stars. But then when I checked on Letterboxd, I didn't. but it's still number 4, baby. Number 3, Late Night with the Devil. Oh boy, is it good to have my theories about how famous people get famous confirmed. I knew it. What if a live late night TV show on Halloween got weird and spooky? Also, it's the 70s. Or maybe the 80s, I can't remember. David Darcy shines as leading man talk show host. He's smooth, he's charming, he's likable, but there's something simmering underneath it all. Unspoken horrors or something. It's a horror film. Something weird's going on. You know how it is. But more importantly than how good he is at acting and this extra dimension that he's added to his acting repertoire is the fact that in this film, I realized he's like super tall. Like really tall. I've always imagined him as this little slimy, gross, little small man freak boy. That sounds insulting. I love him. Polka dot man for president. Like all those things are a compliment somehow. But he's always given me like small creep boy like energy. Whereas actually very tall man energy. Well, he doesn't give that, but he is very tall. I don't know why I've never noticed before. I guess he's always just hunched, being a weird little freak creepy boy in literally everything he's ever done. But as tall leading man talk show host, tall. This film has such an incredible low-budget, small-scale vibe. I absolutely love the child performance. She's so upsetting and weird and does so many great looks and glances that are just truly terrifying and upsetting. And it's a performance that somehow transcends that home brand exorcist issue that I almost always have with these type of child performances with possession and demon devil stuff. But yeah, it does lose that half star because I feel like the build and the escalation of everything is incredible, but I kind of feel like the third act I would have liked a little bit more, just a smidge more craziness and wildness before that truly spectacular final shot that is glorious and horrifying. And like the film does everything so well, but once it loses its mind, I really wanted it to lose its mind just a little bit more so we could have fun in this incredible world they've built. They spent so much time building up to it, and then when everything goes crazy, it's quite a brief part of the film. And I just think because they did everything so well, I would have loved to see a little bit more. And I wonder if that's a budget thing, a time thing, because it's very, very low, small scale, Aussie budget film. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I just feel like there's a couple of fun little things in there that they didn't get to mine from this really great idea that is executed essentially perfectly. So yeah, it doesn't get 5 stars from me because I'm a greedy little boy and I'm greedy for more content of good stuff. But that being said, amazing film, really, really good. Go Australian films. I really should give it 5 just for that. But I'm a man of integrity. And anyone who's seen my Letterboxd and they see my Roland Emmerich 5-star joke, is it a joke? I give him 5 stars for everything. Is it a pity 5 stars? Do I truly think they're 5-star films? I don't know. I can't remember why I started doing that joke. But I can't stop now. I mean, I could, but I refuse to. Number 2, The First Omen, is what I would have said if I had remembered that The First Omen existed when I made this video. Hey, this is Editing Jax. I'm tired. And I realized just before exporting and uploading the video that The First Omen existed. I was done. I was like, oh, wow, it's such a relief to spend far too long on a video. I just want to sit down and play Fortnite and watch some cricket on the second TV. And then my brain, out of nowhere, was like, The First Omen came out this year. You know that. And I'm like, I do know that. Fuck. And I know what you're all asking. What would be off the list? Top 5, I gotta know. If The First Omen's on there, what is not on there? Probably It's What's Inside. Yeah, 4's getting bumped. I don't know what to tell ya. Obviously, 4th is getting bumped. 5th stays exactly where it is. A modern prequel to The Omen has no right being as good as it is, yet alone a perfect movie, and hot take, it's better than the original Omen. It's a sensational movie. I love every single thing about it. I loved it so much, in fact, I forgot it existed. Number 2, Heretic. What if Aaron Sorkin, M. Night Shyamalan, and James Wan teamed up to make a film? Movie magic's what? And its name is Heretic. This film feels like a spiritual sequel to Signs on a thematic level. A film discussing faith in a very talk-heavy film, but also has a very Saw-esque flavor to it. What if Jigsaw? But like religious stuff. Miracle or coincidence? A truly fascinating discussion and talking point that kind of is two opposing views of the world and religions and just how two different ideologies of thought think about the same thing. Is it a miracle or is it just a coincidence? I personally absolutely love this talking point and this theme and this idea that is played around with in this film. I don't know if it does it as well as, say, Signs does, but that's a perfect film that does everything perfectly, and I think every time anyone discusses those two things together, I'll always go, oh yeah, like Signs, or like every time John Locke and Jack Shephard talk in Lost. But I just love playing around with these ideas and concepts, and it's just a fascinating look at how so differently two people and two opposing thoughts can view the same thing. Does this film have all the answers? No. Does this film do anything to change people's minds from one camp or the other? No. But does that matter? No. I love that this film just dives headfirst into these topics and these discussions. It's such a heavy talking film. It's essentially a play. Hugh Grant and the two ladies who are Mormon missionaries just essentially talk and debate throughout the entire film, and it's so thrilling and exciting. It takes so many different twists and turns, and I love that it really doesn't hold any punches when discussing these things. Yet, it never really feels like it's being offensive, and I feel like depending on which side you want to land on with the film, it gives you enough opportunity to land on either like side of the argument and the discussion. It's able to do a couple of really tired horror tropes in the third act that usually I'd just be rolling my eyes. I'd be rolling my eyes, they'd be rolling down the hill. That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But when this film does it, my eyes aren't rolling. My eyes are staring at the screen going, that's good stuff! It's like Signs. Slightly not as good. I think this film very cleverly discusses a lot of really heavy and intense themes, but to me it never really feels mean-spirited or offensive or kind of trying to bash one side or the other. It really is a film that's having a debate, and I really love that about the film. There's powerful points made from both sides from some commanding performances. We have Hugh Grant, who is giving once again a devilishly charming performance like only Hugh Grant can give, putting him and his devilish charm into a horror film. Suddenly that devilish charm is horrifying. That being said, I would just sit and listen to him all day long. What a charming, delightful man he is. Until he's not. The three performances in this film carry and take this script, this very dialogue-focused script, and they make it more than just a lecture from that one very opinionated and drunken uncle that you only see at Christmas once a year, and you're just really praying that you're not sitting on his table at lunch. Hugh Grant delivers, in my opinion, potentially his greatest performance ever. It is so entertaining and captivating, and I'm just holding on every word he says. It's so good. He carries the whole film. Like everyone in this film, all three of them are great, but man, is he captivating and interesting to watch. I just love him so much. It is wild to me that devilishly charming was a phrase before he was born. He is so devilishly charming. I can't think of another word to describe him. Just that cheeky little vibe he has is so awesome. I just love it. I can't just stop watching him. I think he might be one of my favorite actors now that he's gotten a little bit older, just a little bit of grays on the side of his hair, and he's taking these really interesting roles, and just all his career choices in the last 10 years are just so much fun. Even when they're like in a film like this, and it's like not actually fun, but at the same time still very fun. Well, I guess it's time to rewatch Signs and every Hugh Grant film that he's made in the past 10 years. 4.5 out of 5. Again, 4.5 out of 5 again. That's this list doesn't make sense. Number 1, The Substance. This is one of the greatest films I have ever seen. 10 out of 5. Best film of the year. I am in awe and disbelief. A propulsive, frantic, psychologically charged, and creatively gory body horror film that is edited, framed, filmed, and scored exactly the way I love films being made. I am genuinely overwhelmed with emotion from this film. I didn't think films could be this good anymore. This is everything teenage me loved in cinema, and honestly, it's a genre and style of filmmaking that I kind of thought was dead. Every single second of this film oozes style and creativity in a way that is both simultaneously breathtaking and horrific. A grotesquely gorgeous masterpiece. This film's high concept story is genius in its wild and exciting creative visual interpretation of something that we have seen many times before. But by taking it so far, taking it so extreme, and adding this body horror element onto this story that we have seen before, it transcends into something super unique and special. It's an inspired and unique take on themes and concepts we have seen before that at first seems like it's all style, but then the more you delve into the film, you start peeling back all of these really interesting and thought-provoking layers of substance. No. My eyes have not been transfixed to the screen in disgusted delight since watching Peter Jackson's Brain Dead film when I was a child. Extreme close-ups of repulsion and excess, a highly charged and manic soundtrack, heavy, dense, rich themes of self-loathing, beauty, aging, and addiction, and body horror that would make The Thing and The Fly proud. This film is perfect. This film is the quintessential modern body horror film. Also, Cuckoo would probably be on this list, but I haven't seen Cuckoo. What do you want from me? To see all the movies? It's also what I want from me, but I just didn't. I don't know why. I can't find it. Where is it? Someone give it to me. I want to see it.